go again. Let's see. Wait just a second. Let me try to. Sure how to manage my streams. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, cool. So, okay. Now we're cooking with gas. All right. So, um, yeah, basically the plan is, I went ahead, I created the tour. Well, I didn't create the tour. I started creating the tour. Um, got some things connected, but ran into a problem. And the problem was is that although 3D Vista does have um, the ability um, to edit, to do slight edits. So basically, if I go here to like the lobby, I can go to enhance section and I can bump things up contrast wise and things like that. But I don't have too much control over what exactly what I want to do to the image. So this isn't a huge deal. So going back, all I'm trying to do is uh, create a portfolio of my past jobs, and then putting them all together, showcasing what I can do for other businesses and companies that are looking to help um, help people understand their space better. I mean, that's essentially what 3D tours are: is to help um, uh, viewers understand the space and how they either utilize the space or how they would um, go through certain different areas. So that's essentially what I'm trying to do is build a portfolio showing a bunch of different use cases for 3D tours for companies, um, and of course to attract more jobs. Um, so I'm using this stream as basically this is kind of like how I go through trying to um, my struggles of learning how to use different programs to try to get the best results. I am by no means a serious editor or anything like that. I had Adobe for the longest time, but I just got tired of paying all the subscriptions, and I have outside editors that I use to edit all my other photos, and I utilize them to do that. However, these jobs already came and go, and I don't want to sit there and a lot of these jobs didn't require me to edit any of the things because they have all their in-house editors. So um, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to learn how to edit these photos, try to make them look as best as I can. Um, I'm not great in Affinity Photo. I was never great in like Photoshop or Lightroom or Darktable or any of those programs. But this is just a good opportunity. I need to look good enough. For this case, for this instance, this is for new hires understanding the facilities and where they should go when they arrive on site. So it's not something that's a huge deal of like getting the perfect colors and getting, you know, everything just absolutely beautiful. But if I can make it look a little bit better, then I want to. And again, here I don't have a ton of flexibility of what I want to do with the colors and things of that nature. It's not super important, but there was one, and it looks like I did something. I don't know what I did because they don't look horrible. This may be just the um, this might be just the, what do you call it? The end, you know, HDR when I've taken it. I used a Ricoh Theta Z1 taking these photos, so this could be just the result of the um, in camera HDR features that they kind of did it. But because of the mixed lighting, because it was a super overcast day, a lot of blues and stuff like that, I still want to make this kind of visually appealing just because it is for a portfolio and not necessarily for a customer. One of these photos came out really bad, and I tried fixing it on the fly in a couple live streams back, and unfortunately, that did not work at all. So I ended up having to go back, and I was like, well, if I have to fix one, then I should probably fix them all. Um, but essentially, what I did was, you know, already starting to add hotspots, you know, and got a bunch of it connected, and I have a good idea of what, you know, I want to do and kind of like how I want to execute it. But here's the sucky part is that, you know, you can be as organized as possible until you're super disorganized. And that's the part that I feel like I'm going to be getting at pretty soon, is because I'm going to go back into Darktable and redo everything and then remake this. And it's going to be timely. It's going to take, you know, way more time than what I was trying to do, especially if it's just for one panorama. Um, and that kind of sucks. Um, because I cut the cord with, you know, Adobe and Lightroom. There's, you know, there's a couple good YouTube guys that I watched. They're really good, and to edit 360 photos using Lightroom and Photoshop. However, because I'm using Affinity and Darktable and I don't know them that well, um, it's just going to be more of a learning curve. But hopefully, once I get this curve kind of figured out, um, I will be able to um, kind of go through this more smoothly. The second issue that I know that I'm going to have is relabeling all these panoramas. Um, there's quite a few of them, just because it's such a big area that I'm doing. And so saving these and reordering them, um, that's going to be a huge step. And I really was trying to figure out if this is something like a task worth taking on. But at the end of the day, I do have, you know, you might as well do it right. You don't, you sit there and you cut corners or you try to take the easy way of doing things, then uh, you end up getting skunked. So might as well, but like I said, at least I have an idea of what I want to do, at least here at the beginning. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump in and start using Darktable. I imported all the files. Some of these look like the raws, some of them don't. This is the original image that I was trying to fix. Um, and yeah, I don't know anything about Darktable. I mean, I couldn't even really figure out, like, when I'm in here, I have all these thumbnails, but I don't know how to switch between thumbnails. Like, it selects it, but how do I switch to what I'm looking at? So that's why I'm going to watch. And there's, like, when making these adjustments, I mean, they're pretty easy. Because there's only a few things that I need to do to kind of get them pretty close to what I want. Um, the issue is getting this from going back and forth, and so I worked on this a little bit, but still have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm gonna watch this guy. Don't know anything about him. But yeah, let's just see if this kind of he tells me something that I don't know, and hopefully it's everything. So let's check it out.
There's a lot of people that have this problem with it because it is, outside of the norm of what Lightroom and other things are that we're used to, or Capture One. So today I want to talk about how we're going to make this easier and less frustrating for you to navigate Darktable and how to edit things. And I'll show you how I made my workflow the way it is, and you can create your own one from that. And something to also note is that I did make a beginner video last year, but since then I've learned quite a bit in that year, troubleshooting with things. And this just kind of builds upon that and kind of smooths things out a bit more and gets you more understanding of how to navigate it easier and more Lightroom-like, I guess. But it does have ways you can customize it, and we'll talk about that. Let's just go.
So before going too deep into it, um, there's only, like I said, there's only a few things that I need to do in Darkroom or to accomplish in Darkroom. One of them being is to adjust the local contrast, to reduce highlights to 0 and then increase shadows to 100%. This does not look great, so I don't know. Oh, let's turn that off. Let's do this one. So highlight 0, shadows 100 to 100. Turn this on. Oh man. Maybe the exposure. There we go. Yeah, this looks more like it. So it's not going to be super bright. For whatever reason, I can't figure out what's going on with the exposure and why, it only maxes out at +4. Wait, right click to type of specific value. I mean, oh, that's, oh, oh, this is what I was looking for. So all I got to do is just read. Amazing what you can do when you just read a little bit. Um, that's wild. So, like I said, I spent a little bit of time on this the other day. Wow, that looks exactly what I wanted to. Yeah. Then I can mess with the details a little bit more. Okay. So we're cooking with gas because 4 wasn't enough. Like I did 4. It wasn't enough. And it was just showing that it was just maxed out. But again, I mean, you have to be careful with the exposure and stuff like that. I mean, you really don't want to blow out a whole lot, but this day was super overcast. And, when you're done with overcast lighting, for me, the sky blows out. And I know there's like ways to fix it, but again, it's not about making this particular tour. It's not about making a beautiful, stunning, 360 image. It's about showcasing how newcomers um, will come in, word apart, understand the layout. Because I mean that's the worst thing, right? It's like when you get to a new place, especially in a bigger facility, you have no idea where you're going or how to get there or anything else like that. So um, that's all I'm trying to accomplish here is that when uh, someone gets gets hired on, they'll be sent the 360 tour. They can view it ahead of time to know where everything's at, or at least have a general idea of where everything's at, and they're not completely lost. So that's really cool. Didn't know I could do that. That's awesome. The other thing is, like, I have just a couple of these here, and these, essentially um should be all that I need. Uh and then I can bump up the detail just a little bit, like that there. And essentially that, remove chromatic aberration. Um, I still don't understand if I'm actually doing something or not. Um, it is on, so that's good. Yeah, so this shadow and highlights I want to get rid of. And I know I can do that because manage presets. And this is the shadow highlights. So I'm going to remove that. So I don't think I need that. Local, contrast, tone equalizer, exposure, chromatic aberration. So I think this is all I need. Pretty sure I have to watch another video. But the big thing that I don't know how to do is swap from one to another on here. So let's continue to watch this video and let's see if we actually learn something.
Go ahead and start it by just showing you how to add the photos to your collection, and we'll go through culling and all that to begin with. So whenever you want to start this out, the thing with it on Windows that I kind of struggled with for a little bit was just that you add a custom place. So whenever you hit add to library, it'll open up this window, and then you'll go here to this plus button above or right next to places or above the areas here. Once you click plus, you can select the drive or whatever folder specifically that you want to have it have access to, and then click open. Once you've done that, you'll see that it's now on that drive, and then you have access to the folders underneath it. So in my case, I want to go look for something in here, and let's say I just want to do November. It'll show me all of the raw files in here. If you uncheck this, it'll add JPEGs, which in this case I was shooting JPEG and RAW, and it's all on here, but that's, if you have those JPEGs on there and you want to do something with them, then that's how you get to see them. Now if you want to see any previews, click this eye up here and it'll load previews for you for each one of the photos. So that way you can go ahead and deselect anything you already don't want to add, or let's say you actually had two separate shoots on one card and you throw them all into one thing, then you can just add it from here. But we're going to go ahead and add all these to the library, and now that we have them all here, you can see that all of them are set as 1 star, and we haven't called anything. So if you hit Control A, it will select everything, and then if you hit F, it'll put it full screen, and it'll go over to the one that your mouse is already moused over. Now through this, you can't add any colors to these, but you can do star levels. So say you will go through these, and say you want to do these from the full screen to the star level, then you would just go through and add stars to things. So I'll just do it easily for me. I'm just going to go from the beginning here. So we're going to add 3 stars here, 3 stars here, 3 stars here, and then 2 here, just so I can show you how you can add both of these together so you can see both of the specifications. And then if you hit escape, it'll bring you back to this view. Now whenever you want us to see the 2 star and 3 star, if you hit 2 like that right there, it'll show you where it's on the second one. And then if you hit shift and then click the 3, it'll give you the 3 stars. That way you'll only have these selected. And if you hit Control A, it'll select all of them for you. And let's say we split these up and we want them 2 different colors. So first I'll left click this one, then shift, left click this one, it'll add 3 of those in the selection, and you can click whatever color. So we'll just make these yellow. And then I'll do this, left click, shift, same thing, and then give it green. So now they have a dot at the bottom right hand corner, as you can tell right here. And then you see these right here. So let's say we had every one of the star rating photos on here. And then we wanted to see just the yellow, then we go right here, we see those. And let's say we just wanted to see green, then we would do this. You'd have to uncheck the yellow because they can't do it together unless you click this right here. It'll, well, first we've got to click both of them, and then we can have them kind of paired together. And that way you can see all of those. And one other thing that I guess I failed to mention whenever you went full screen is make sure if you want to switch between photos, you can use the left and right arrow key, just like as you would expect. But the difference between Darktable and Darkroom within this program is they don't use the same key for that. So whenever you go and we want to have that, you can actually change your global preferences. Whenever you do that, though, you're going to need to click this gear icon up here in the top right, and then go to Shortcuts, and then Views, and which one you're looking at is going to be Darkroom because that's the one that is a little bit odd in how it does it. So the default is backspace. But if I want to go on the back one, I'm going to hit the left arrow key. So the only way to change that is to double click this. You see how it kind of goes gray? And then you give it that command like the left. But if you already have...
Just out of curiosity, I'm on here. Okay, so what is this? I was just kind of curious if that would do it, but I'm not sure what he's doing.
To mention whenever you went full screen is make sure if you want to switch between photos, you can use the left and right arrow key, just like as you would expect. But the difference between Darktable and Darkroom within this program is they don't use the same key for that. So whenever you go and we want to have that, you can actually change your global preferences selection, and you can click whatever color. So we'll just make these yellow. And then I'll do this, left click, shift, same thing, and then give it green. So now they have a dot at the bottom right hand corner, as you can tell right here. Yeah. And then you see these right here. So let's say we had every one of the star rating photos on here. And then we wanted to see just the yellow, then we go right here, you see those. And let's say we just wanted to see green, then we would do this. You'd have to uncheck the yellow because they can't do it together unless you click this right here. And it'll, well, first we've got to click both of them, and then we can have them kind of paired together. And that way you can see all of those. And one other thing that I guess I failed to mention whenever you went full screen is make sure if you want to switch between photos, you can use the left and right arrow key, just like as you would expect. But the difference between Darktable and Darkroom within this program is they don't use the same key for that. So whenever you go and we want to have that, you can actually change your global preferences. Whenever you do that, though, you're going to need to click this gear icon up here in the top right, and then go to Shortcuts, and then Views, and which one you're looking at is going to be Darkroom because that's the one that is a little bit odd in how it does it. So the default is backspace. But if I want to go on the back one, I'm going to hit the left arrow key. So the only way to change that is to double click this. You see how it kind of goes gray? And then you give it that command like the left. But if you already have it in there and you do it, it'll remove it. So don't do that. So I'm going to click no on this one. But that's how you change that to give you the left and right option. And one last thing within Darktable I think we need to go over is you can actually copy information from one to another. So if you made some edits on something, say you liked how this photo was edited, you hit copy, and then you click over here, and you click paste, and it would paste the same attributes from that photo to the next. And there's another way to kind of do this, making a style, though I haven't gotten really good at doing that, so I'm going to look into it a little bit more, but these are the things I've found so far I find really helpful. So I believe that's about it, besides the exporting, which also can get people tripped up some as well. Make sure that you choose the file name, and you'll need to choose the folder you want it to go into, by telling it where to go. So we'll just say we want it here, or like lemonade stand or something like that as the output. And then after you found that, then you're going to go here. You would probably not choose any of these other formats unless you have a specific need for it. So leave it at JPEG 8-bit. Don't try 10-bit or 12-bit or something like that. Yeah, 12-bit. One other thing that tripped me up on something that I had to re-edit about 800 photos for, just because they were low image quality, is because right here when you set the size, that's what it sets itself as a default. Whenever you set size, you actually want to do it by scale for the file. So that way it sets it the same size as your original file. So that way it'll have high quality. If you do it the other way, you're going to end up having grainy photos and other problems. So just make that as a pretty good mental note that you need to check that each time you come in here to do this.
That might be something worth looking into. So I'm doing everything as a 16-bit TIFF file. The reason for that is because I'm going to take these raw images and, well, these unstitched panoramas and stitch them as a 16-bit TIFF file, and then I'm going to go into Affinity Photo and make whatever color corrections and stuff like that in there. So essentially, the way that I understand it, and I am by far not I'm not a expert in doing like editing again with 360 photos. Like I've done a ton of tours with minimum editing. Usually just the in camera kind of editing and stuff like that. And I guess to kind of give you a reason why I don't do a whole lot of editing is that I do have another team that does all my still image or flat image editing. Because for me, this is not necessarily a hobby, this is a job. And if I spend all day editing, then I'm not getting any jobs to go shoot. So I have to do like a fine balance. But I could pay my editors to do this, but they're really expensive to do 360 panoramas. So I can't really justify I guess I can, but I just want to knock it out and be done with it. But here's the other part too. Oops. The other part is if I don't understand the basics of editing, or if I can't edit my own photos in some shape or form, then if there's an issue, like, I don't know, not necessarily the internet's down, but say that I can't get a hold of my editors for whatever reason, they're out of town, they're on vacation, whatever, and a customer needs a change made on the fly, I need to be able to know how to do it. And like, just as an example, I had a customer ask me to do some property lines for him, or lot lines for him. And these lines aren't, this is from an aerial photo shoot. And he just wanted to kind of, outline the property, which is great. And my editors do that for me. They do a great job doing that for me, but they're on holiday right now. So before I even started offering lot lines, I practiced it myself. I was like, what programs can I use to do this? And how easy can I make this? And a lot of times I use free programs. I love using programs that doesn't lock you in, especially for someone like me who I'm not getting a bazillion, jobs all requesting this one particular thing. I paid for Lightroom. I paid for photo, or the whole Adobe suite for a long time. And realizing that, I could be saving a lot more money by just outsourcing it, but I was still kind of like hesitant because, I could watch a ton of tutorials on how to do particular things. So going back to the lot line thing is I would watch YouTube tutorials on how to create lot lines. I would copy those. Now I'm like, okay, cool. How else can I do it? And I learned that cool. You just use Canva and just create your lot lines there, which is awesome. Um, and once I kind of learned it, or understood the fundamentals of how to do it, I pass that on to my editors. I says, hey, this is how I do it. You can do it however you want to do it. Um, but I still retain like some of the knowledge of how to do it. So I haven't created a lot line. I mean, I've sold probably 200, 300 lot line photos, um, but I didn't create almost any of them. I haven't done a lot line in maybe 2 years. And this perfect example is that I had a customer that requested. I have two sets of editors. I got one set of editors that are great for doing just photos and creating lot lines and call out tags and things of that nature. They do an awesome job. And then I have another editing team that does really well for high end photos, or high end photo editing, and then also virtual staging. They do an amazing job doing virtual staging. The other company does not do, I guess, so they're limited on the virtual staging. And it's just because there's so many different virtual staging softwares out there and trying to figure out pricing and stuff. Um, the main editors that I use, um, they are able to keep costs low just because of how fast they can move through um, editing a bunch of photos. But when it comes to virtual staging, they try to be cost effective, which is I'm very grateful for, because the more I can keep my costs low, the more I can pass that on to my customers or invest more into equipment and stuff like that to acquire more customers. Um, but they don't do virtual staging. So the other editors that do virtual staging, they don't know how to do lot lines, or they're not. I never showed them how to do lot lines for them to be able to do it, and it was a huge mess when I was trying to show them. So I don't use the virtual staging editors as much as I do my normal ones. But anyways, I had a customer who needed who got photos, who needed virtual staging, but also needed lot lines. And I kind of went squirrel brain and said, yeah, cool. I sent everything to the virtual staging editors and said, hey, I need these photos edited and virtual staged. They did that, and then I realized that they needed lot lines, and they don't do lot lines. The other crazy part is that my editors are all on holiday right now, so um, so basically now I had to sit there and try to remember exactly how I did the lot lines the first time. But when I was doing it the first time, I was doing it all in Photoshop. I did do some in Canva, and that's where I went back and try to remember exactly how I did it in Canva, so that way I could do it again. But that kind of goes to what I'm trying to accomplish right now, is that I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to edit all, every 3D tour that I do. Um, and just to be way faster, just to have editors do it and just pay out the nose for it. But again, it goes back to that I should probably know how to do this, even though that I'm not going to be doing this, full time. So um, that's where I'm at right now. That's why I want to do that. So bicycle for files, what we want. Don't need. Allow upscaling. He said yes. I got to somehow remember. Should I just click it? Whatever. I'll click it. I'll see what happens if that works. I don't think there's anything else in this part they need to do, but I see like create HDR and some other things. So I wonder if this is what I'm happy with here. If I copy it, he copied something else. Resync. Oh, okay. So if I copy here and so I'm worried about because a lot of these didn't open up correctly. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So what I'm going to do is go back to Darkroom. And I think like I said, I'm pretty happy with how this is looking so far. I don't think I need to make any other adjustments here. But I do need to somehow start editing this one. Like I said, I just don't understand why this doesn't just click over to the next one. It doesn't make any sense. Hopefully this guy has
I believe
something.
that about does it for me in Lighttable as far as the things that I found that were really helpful. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, let's move on to Dark.
Now let's move on to Darkroom. Okay, now that we're in Darkroom, let's talk about what kind of editing this is. And it's a little bit different than what you would consider for Lightroom, because Lightroom does it in a display referred model rather than a scene referred model.
Yeah.
So what scene referred is, it's it's using linear light data from your camera, and it often looks flat, dark, and has low contrast, as you can see here. And that is just something that it keeps the raw data intact as long as possible before
Really
we expose it to a display.
I really
so that's
hope
why it uses a sideloaded file, which is XMP, which just stores the data.
he shows how to swap. Because I think that's the only missing key right now is how to swap photos.
It just has a sideloaded file that is referred to it, that whenever it gets exported, it adds to it. So I hope that kind of explains why it does this and why it has scene refer. Now, so whenever you have these tools, you're going to have some options to begin with at the top right over here, right under the histogram. If you look, you can actually see there's a few. One says beginner, display referred, scene referred. I do workflow scene referred, so if you want to do display referred, you can. But so what we're doing here is I've already got one set up, and I had a test one before, but if you want to make one, you would go to that right here and manage your presets.
Yeah, that's what I
and then you would go
did.
to new. If you want to make a new one, we'll just go ahead and make one. And add your tools. You would go here to the add group, and you'd have to do it for each one. So each time you do it, you have to put something else back in here. So you have to keep going back to the plus button. So that's if you want to make your own. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one. It was just for getting to display it for you. So now that we've set it up for just this one, where I say this is the essential stuff that I like. So first, we're going to go ahead and frame our scene here. So if it looks like it's off, which it looks like it may be, you can use this drop.
I don't want to keep
you can make
switching
a line.
around, but I do want to see if you swap to a different image.
And then you're going to have crushed.
Which I really hope he does.
And then scroll up. Maybe if you want to make these are options. We've got other ones. Clipping. Just adjust this. Fit it back to it.
Go back and we'll watch this,
because I was talking about the noise. And, if you have high understand, or make sure that you're going to be doing room, but and if you did, please place a specific.
Of course
one.
not. The one thing I need to see is how to swap these,
because you can make your own presets like you can with.
Okay, so we need to do. What is this called? Is this a film strip? What do they call this? Manage quick says pre-list. No. What is this? Display second darkroom image. No. Quick access planning styles. No. Toggle focus. Toggle color. High quality. Toggle indication. What is this? Preferences. Reset. Need to move. Need to click second picture. Why is this so stupid? Is there something weird? Do I need to read this? Scroll down. like actions, global views, shortcuts. What is all this? Space. Start typing for incremental searches. Double click, add new shortcut. No. Is it space? No. Right? Oh my God. It's space. Why? Why Darktable? Why would you? Okay, so how do I go back? How do I go back? Shit, where did I go? Global settings, with shortcuts, space, forward. What is back? We're gonna swap that. Space. How do we do this again? Start typing. Press delete or press delete to disable. Select the default shortcut. Double click to add a new shortcut. Okay. We're gonna go this way. What? View darkroom. Wait. Let me see. Is it up and down? No. It's space. So, oh man, this is worse than trying to play a game. Oh, look at all this shit. Okay. Because again, I only need a couple of these things. So what is... Okay, space view / darkroom images forward. Zoom in. Oh my God, they got so much. Second preview, history. We're looking to go back. Case history. You know what I'm going to do? Darktable. Let's do Darktable shortcuts. Shortcut Ninja. Up faster, workflow.
Darktable is my go-to choice when it comes to editing photos, and I've uploaded well over 100 videos about it. However, I've never showed you how easy it is to navigate through the different menus and modules using shortcuts. My name is Rico Richardson, and in this video I'm going to tell you all about it. Much of the functionality of Darktable can be accessed via shortcuts using the keyboard or keyboard mouse combinations. These shortcuts are user configurable via the Shortcuts tab. Many important shortcut actions are provided with default key combinations, but most must be manually configured by the user. Any key.
So image back. Oh, backspace. What? What? Do I want to change these? Because in my past experiences, when I change stuff, when I change things, What is backspace? This word. Okay, so backspace and spacebar, which makes 0 sense. But you know what? I'll come back to this to make my life easier. Now that I have this, let's just rock through this. Let's just get through this. This image, this looks good. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. This one, we're going to need to do a bunch of stuff. So let's go to tone equalizer. Is there a way that I can? Can I reorder this? Now what? When you have something that works, I'm hesitant to mess with it. Okay, so we're gonna bring down the highlights. We're gonna increase the shadows. Then we're gonna go to exposures. Here's something that I learned. Wow, this looks really good. We're gonna bring it up to about right there. And again, this is just for newcomers coming to the space, and understanding the layout. We don't even need, I think like 100. 155, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, I mean, this is just all about having that work. Okay, so this looks good. I'm happy with this image. Let's go on to the next one. Now we're going to do the same thing. Oh, you know what I forgot? I need to go back and do the chromatic aberration, blue. Again, I don't see any chromatic or chromatic aberration anywhere in this photo. So I'm not even sure, I'm doing anything that makes sense. Like, I don't even know, like, just clicking this on if I'm actually doing something. I don't think I am, but you know what? It's fine. On to the next one. So now let's go back to the tone equalizer. We're going to do the magic thing. There we go. That looks good. I'm just trying to get rid of the arrows. Once I do that, we need to go to local, and we're going to reduce the highlights to 0. We're going to increase the shadows. Then we're going to go to exposure, and we're just going to go ahead and bump this up so we can actually see something. That looks good. I'm happy with that. Local contrast. I think 125 works. Oh, that was a mistake. Of course. So whatever. I don't care. Yeah, that all looks good. Like I said, we're not done editing. This is just the first part. Okay, next photo. We're going to keep doing the same thing with all the photos. We need to go to tone equalizer. We need to do the magic thing. That look good. Local contrast. We're going to go shadows 100, light 0, 125. I'm happy with that. Exposure. We're going to bump this up. Like I said, it was a super dark day. And here's this thing. You see that I maxed out here. Apparently you can go up to like 17 or something. I don't remember what exactly you go up to, but you can go up really high, which is great. We got that worker there. Everything looks good. Detail looks fine. Chromatic, just going to turn that on. It's kind of green, but I noticed because I used the Rico Theta Z, Z1, that a lot of my chromatic is usually blue. And so I wish there was a way to, have that state as blue. And again, we're outside. I don't see any. Usually you see it like by the windows and stuff, but I don't see it here. So we're just going to let it ride. Okay, so that should be good. Local contrast again, remove highlights. We're going to increase the shadow. And I will say, for everybody that's watching, that there's another YouTuber. See if I can find him real quick. He's the one that I learned this from. And if you are using like Photoshop or don't judge me on my YouTube history. If you want to learn how to do it on Photoshop and Lightroom, this would be the guy to watch. Where's he at? It's this guy.
All the rest of the photos.
Hugh Howe, really good guy to watch. He does a lot of really cool stuff with 360 tours. I do have a couple other videos I have in mind that I want to knock out. I just did this house yesterday. That was really cool. Does this remember like what I did last? And I already know that I could easily like copy and paste all this, but the thing is, it's repetition, right? Like I need to remember how to do this in case I don't have someone that could do this. Oops, space bar, what we just learned. And repetition, builds that muscle memory of like how to do it. So I may not remember exactly how to do everything, but if I can do a little bit of muscle memory, then I have a better chance of like getting close, a lot closer than what I'm at. Because just to remember like how to do this section, I learned from this guy here. Like I said, really great instructor. And yeah, so that looks good. It's nice and bright. This is where like they detail all the cars. This is for like an Avis car rental. We'll turn this on. Chromatic, blue. Oh, it's very large. I don't see anything. So that's fine. Next image. It's going to be super fun. Ooh. Next. Yeah, so let's backspace. This one's going to get a 1 star. I know, should I check? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Like, I'll notice. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I just kind of want to build up that muscle memory, because like I said, even it's so long since I last did this that I had to go back and watch this Hugh Howe guy on how to do this or remember to do this. Just want to make this kind of bright enough that way it's able to see. Yeah, that looks good. Chromatic, turn that on. Blue, or large, why not? Next. Does this guy, yeah, I guess he just sits there. It's funny because you have some people that um, really try to get out of the camera's way. Then you have some people like this guy here who could care less, which is fine. I also do it in this order. I think it matters. I don't know how it matters. I don't know necessarily why it matters, but I think by doing, and this is again just following this guy, I think it does matter, because if you go out of sequence, I have noticed some weird and funky things that would happen. About right there, that looks good. Chromatic aberration, blue, it's fine. You know what I'm probably going to have to do is like remove all these stars, because I was messing with the stars. So this was the original image that started this rabbit hole of using Darktable and everything on these streams. Was that I had all these images, everything was set up in 3D Vista, like it was perfect, until I got to like the break room, and you can see this is a disaster. Holy cow. I wasn't happy with that. I mean, again, it's not super important, but you can't edit. You can do some adjustments in 3D Vista. So for instance, you go to enhance under panoramas, go to enhance, and you can mess with the contrast, right? You can mess with the brightness, so you can bump it up in brightness. The saturation, you can mess with that. The gamma stuff, you can mess with that. Sharpen radius, sharpen amount, you can mess with that. But the issue, I guess, for me, is the strong yellow lights, and I usually like to desaturate the yellows just a little bit. I mean, this again for an employee area, but if you're going to do something, try to do it right. Try to do your best at it. So, I just, when I was doing the tour, I really didn't care too much, or not that I didn't care. It was that I wasn't too concerned with, go back to my list, with like how everything looked. So for instance, like here, this was totally fine. People got it. They understand. I want to make sure they know what this road was, and what to expect with the security gate, and then like here's the employee parking, which is great. And this is good enough. And this was all edited in the enhanced section here, because it was super dark. But you do one image and it looks like dog water, like absolute like dog water. This guy, I just had to redo it. I couldn't get the colors right. I screwed around too much. So anyways, that's why I'm going back and redoing all this, because of this image. And it was funny enough, because I actually did not deliver this image to the client. So there's a good chance that they didn't even use this. To be honest with you, it's on them. I don't care. they don't want to use it, that's totally fine. Did I? Oh, maybe it's something I did earlier. We're just going to brighten that up because you can still see out the windows. And it was funny because if you go like here, like I bumped it up pretty high, and it looks pretty good. If you go back to 3D Vista, yeah, I guess you can still kind of see out the window. But when I first did it, it was just all blown out. So, anyways, okay. So this one looks good. Chromatic aberration. You know, I'm looking these windows. Yeah, I'm in Darktable. I don't see anything. I don't see none of the blue tints. I don't see none of the purples, the violet. So I guess I'm good. It is on, so whatever. All right, so I'm happy with that. Like I said, we're not worried about the yellows or anything else. We're gonna adjust that. Oh, can we just close? Just gonna leave it alone. Oh, that one looked good. Do I go back? No, that was the one. And I screwed up. So part of the workflow process too, and I didn't put this on there, is using Topaz Labs denoise, which is great. But the problem is that, you know, it made the balloons look really weird, and some of the text look kind of weird and stuff because it's trying to grab, you know, information that's not there. And like I said, you can really tell that people just don't care. They're in the picture, not in the picture, but whatever. So yeah, so there's the employee. This is, you know, going back in from the break room. I usually like trying to take photos here, but it was hard because this is a working area. So, um, you know, it's hard when it's a working area. And this is not a good image because even when I had tripod set up and the door open, this is an employee walking through. Um, so that was not a good image. So here, that's fine. Employee already came through, so we can go ahead and work on this image. Go tone equalizer, fix this. Again, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what this does. All I know is like we don't want that yellow warning sign on here, and click audio or click auto fix. So, you know, sometimes you just have to kind of go with it. I should learn what it does, how it plays in eventually, but today I just want to yeah, this one's going to be a little difficult just because we got a lot of light coming from right here and right there, but it's an old building, like, so just kind of deal with what you got. Again, I don't think I need to use this, but I'm going to. Looks fine. Like I said, we'll get rid of all the yellows and stuff. And if we need to bump up color, or if we need to bump up, what do you call it? The exposure, we can do that in Affinity. So I want to get it close. That's all I'm trying to do. See, and sometimes it doesn't go away. So I'll just go and I hit this again. And eventually, going back and forth, eventually it all goes away. So it works. Again, don't know what I'm doing. That side of things. It's almost kind of like a monkey see, monkey do. that's fine. That's acceptable. And we'll hit attic, blue. That's fine. And yeah, that's essentially, we're just gonna blast through this. I know we can do again the copy and paste, but sometimes like when you do the copy and paste, because of the mixed light, this is generally like a pretty overcast day, but if it was like a day that it was sun shining, it was bright outside, there was no clouds, the lighting was consistent, then I would really consider copying and pasting. But because of all the mixed lighting in the past, what has happened is that I would hit apply it to all, and then I would spend ever trying to figure out like what images were okay and what images I need tweak. And it got in my head to where it's like, oh, do I need to do this or do I need to do that? And so for me, it's almost faster of just trying to. Next time I'm going to do mask. I'm going to try doing the bottom first and then the top and to see if that makes a difference. Because like, again, sometimes the order matters. I don't know. We're going to bring down the highlights and use the shadows. I'm almost certain that I could, change local contrast shadows 108%. I feel like I could probably do more with that, but I'm not going to. Again, if it's working. So far, I'm pretty happy with how everything's been working out. So don't rock the boat, right? We'll change that to blue. There you go. This is not going to take long. Actually, you know what? Since we have this, it's great. Why don't we just put on some music? That way I have something to listen to, and then I could test if it kicks me out or kind of sort of demonetized. But I got what I wanted out of that tutorial. So let me see. That's copyright free. There we go. Now I can just sit here and just kind of blast through this. Oh, that's what I want to do. I wanted to go through here. That is kind of loud. I know that's kind of loud, so well, at least on my end, I don't know how to adjust. Where it's not super loud. Just do it here. So I wanted to kind of match like how it's heard in the chat and see. That should be good. Okay, so I'm happy with that. If you can hear it in the chat, then we're doing good. Did we do... I'm gonna do this one first. And this one. Again, don't mess with it if it's broken. Remove highlights, increase shadows, 0, exposure. Happy with that. Product. The fun part is going to be me having to relabel and figure out where I got to save these at, because that's with 3D Vista, if they're not all in the same place, and when I save it and when I try to export it or go back to work on it, then it gets all jacked up. So, you know, like, I'm organized to the point where my organization becomes really disorganized. Well, no, my organization becomes a hindrance instead of helping. And so I always end up screwing myself on that, which is something I hope to learn to get better at some point in my life, because I'll save everything. Yeah, I'll learn to save everything, but it just, like I said, it ends up shooting me in the foot. So, let's knock this out real quick. We don't have too much more to go. This is the parking deck. And I almost feel bad because you have to go, like, the place, the training is like over here. Like, I guess one set of offices over here, but if you want to go up to the airport, I guess where you go to check stuff out, you have to go up 3 flights of these stairs and then go all the way to the end, which isn't fun. But I found out that our guide, the guy that was like showing us around, what he does is he has keys to like all these rental cars. So he'll just take a rental car from up there, drive it down here, and then drive back and forth. But I guess people that doesn't have his status has to go up the stairs, which, I mean, I guess is good because you get your, what is that? That's just the light. Which I guess is good because get your steps in. Now here's the other thing. You know, I know I increased the brightness on this super high and like this is all kind of blown out, but again, this isn't to make it look pretty. The idea is like when someone's going through here, they need to be able to see inside this parking lot. So what I'm concentrating on when I'm doing this is, can we see inside the parking lot? Can we see where we're going to go next? Because that is where you kind of get lost at. So again, I'm not concentrating. I don't care about outside. I care about in here, that it makes the most sense. Equalizer. Yeah, that looks good. I almost don't care about doing the dramatic aberration. I mean, it's literally 2 more seconds, so why not, right? And at the end, this is all going to be worth it, which I really hope so. Life is preferred. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least I know for this part it will be worth it. Where I'll end up getting in trouble is later on in like Affinity. That's where if I get in trouble, that's where it's going to be in trouble at. Like I said, it's not anything crazy. It's just going to be repetitive. because now we're on the second level, I think. We still had to go up. Maybe this was it. Is this it over here? Oh no, this is going up to the first. Is it second story? Or is it third story? Third level. So there's 3 levels. So I don't know. Maybe this is just kind of showing. Oh. That looks good. Yeah, this has to be the 3rd level. So maybe that one was, maybe I skipped the second because why do one on the second? Won't really make that much sense. Okay. I just want this to be really nice. Right. See, there's chromatic aberration. That's purple. So this would be a good time to see it, but it only gives me fix anything. Let me think of fix anything. Yeah, whatever. Oh, and this is going through that section, I guess. Yeah. So I did have a car run through here, but whatever. And then that's the other big thing. Like, you're going to see part of the workflow is that I like to use that Topaz Lab noise, but the issue is like, if you use it, you can't use it on objects in motions. Oh my goodness. Apologize. Give me 1 second. This is becoming quite a bit in the butt, dealing with this. On. Saturday, it's a new client, and we're worried about rain. Okay, so what was it? An equalizer. So yeah, if you're using Topaz Labs, the denoise, it's a great tool, but it's only a great tool for static objects. That looks good. So we're going to roll with that. Make this bright enough to be able to see that they're going through that hall. All right. Sorry about that. Can kind of read that. That looks fine. Then they're going to be going through this sky bridge area. That looks good. Fix it. Equalizer. Pump that up. And oh, there's a light to the end of the tunnel, folks. Light to the end of the tunnel. Looks good. Good. Oh yeah, this will work back. We don't need to cut the windows or anything. So. we did it. We successfully got these images from Darkroom edited. So now the next step is that we're going to export them, save them into, or export them, and then start re-editing them, start editing them in Affinity Photo. Then from Affinity Photo into into 3D Vista. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pause here for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I don't know if it'll be today that I get back on or maybe tomorrow, but I have a ton of 3D tours of different facilities that I need to finish for my portfolio. So yeah, I got to knock this out, and I think by doing these streams, I think that's what ultimately ends up helping me stay on track and to finish these things out. Okay, enjoy your Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.